Hello, everyone. I am Vicky Schettini. Stay tuned because I'm going to share a lot of great information for you to become successful and do with whatever it takes.
Well, hello there. I hope you're having an amazing day. Today I'm going to talk about property management and rentals. Both are crucial. So, if you are the type of landlord or owner that just likes to get passive income, this is a great way, but just do not want to handle the tenants, then get a property manager. And there's plenty of property managements out there. What I tell everybody is you need to interview property managements. You need to know when they're doing their notices. So there's a lot of information. You can't just hire somebody. I am Vicky Schettini, and I am going to give you a little bit of background about myself. In 2014, I took a leap of faith and moved across country from California to good old Jackson, Mississippi. And I had my whole trip, life planned out. I'm one of those people that sets goals and I just stick to my goals and I am focused and determined. Well, being a single mom, I was actually going through a divorce and I did not have a whole lot of money. So on the way, when I originally planned on moving to Jackson, I tried to get a U-Haul and that cost way too much money. So I went ahead and bought this old beat up trailer, 24-foot enclosed trailer, and packed it to the max with the items I really, really wanted to keep. The rest of my stuff I sold. Well, on my way here, really everything that what could have gone wrong. Well, I can't even say that. But I just had a lot of things going wrong. And I really it was it depleted my money that I had. When I set out I had $5,000, and because I had two blowouts, the trailer was too heavy. Just kind of life happening, and by the time I got here, I certainly did not even have close to that. I had already talked to an investor that was going to owner finance me a house. And again, I was on a mission. I was going to buy 60 houses for the next 40 years. Then I was going to pay them off, and then I was going to retire. That was it. That was what my whole system was about. Then, well, when I get to Jackson, Mississippi, the person that was supposed to owner finance me decides to stop returning my calls. So I quickly realized that I just didn't have a place to go. Didn't know anyone, didn't really have a lot of money, so at first I stayed at a really nice motel, and when I realized that how expensive it was, I went and like every week the motels kept changing. Bottom line is I just started networking and doing whatever it takes. I did not want to be put in the position that I was in previous to this. And going back a little bit more is when I decided to take that leap of faith is because I had been working at a job, and after I paid all my bills, I had $25 left to my name. So really getting a flat tire was not possible because I couldn't even buy a tire. So that's when I said I need to do something that money's coming in all the time. I tried doing flips. That was great, but really the only one that was making money was my hard money lender and my attorney. So I wanted something that could make help me live every day. Bottom line, when I was in Jackson, I finally got into my first home. I had $500 left to my name. So I had to get creative. I did a lot of networking. I started selling my things I had in that trailer on eBay, and that was paying for my bills. I learned how to fix these properties and I stuck to my word. Your word is golden. So if you commit to something, you do it no matter what, and you do whatever it takes. one golden rule also is you do not do anything to others that you wouldn't do for yourself. So, like for me, I buy a lot of properties and I get people from out of state all the time saying, well, I want to buy some properties. I would refer them to a house that I wouldn't buy myself. So just kind of be, have be ethical. There's enough unethical people out there, so don't want to be one of them. So let's talk about rentals. Rentals, another word for them is buy and holds. You buy a property and and you rent it out. So here's an example is let's say and I'm using 50,000. I don't know what part of the country you're in, but this is very very normal here in Jackson, Mississippi. Buy a property for 50,000. My closing cost is 1,000. So my total acquisition cost, total how much I put in is $51,000. Now, if that property is making rent of 850 plus I have to pay taxes and insurance. So if you've never bought a house before, you always if you have a loan, you have to pay the bank the principal and the interest on that loan. You have to pay the taxes and you for sure want to get hazard insurance. What does hazard insurance cover? It covers if your place burns down, it will cover the structure. If somebody falls and breaks their leg in your property, it will cover that. So hazard insurance is a must. You always want to protect your asset. There's other things you can do, and that will be on another segment episode that I'll be talking about. Is going a little bit further and putting all your properties on trust. It's so simple to do, and the pros is I don't even think there is a con to it. So crucial. Now, when you buy a house, you cannot expect on this house to get $850 and it's always going to be occupied for the life for forever. No, because tenants move out eventually. Some of them, if you're lucky, I mean, I know this one tenant on one of the properties, her previous house, she was there 19 years. Those tenants are very rare. If you get one of those, that's amazing. But more than likely, your tenants will move out. And then at one point or another, you're going to have to fix something. It's just part of landlording. I know this one investor that just refuses to buy properties that are not brand new. Yes, that's great because you're more than likely not going to have that many issues on the house, but eventually, guess what happens to the house? It doesn't become new anymore. It becomes lived in. So you will have things to fix. So I always tell people put a 10%, take out 10% of that money for vacancies and I'm sorry, 5% for vacancies and 5% for maintenance. Now, be aware of this because there's different types of properties or areas. There's A, B, C, and D. A is like the best area you could think of. And top of my head, Beverly Hills comes to my mind. Maybe because I'm from California originally. Best area ever. B, it's right underneath that. C, it's more of the blue collar areas, working people, great working people, um, but they don't make a whole lot of money. And D, it's an area that I am afraid to go pick up rents. So is it do you invest in D? There's a lot of people that do. I personally don't. I like to invest in B and C, but there's nothing wrong with it. The only thing I'll tell you is if you're renting in D and Class D, usually you have a higher turnover. And that means that you may have a tenant that you signed a lease for a year, but more than likely they probably won't stay for a year. It is crucial that you qualify them right. It's all about how you qualify them and how do you take care of your tenants. That's crucial. So, on this scenario, making 850 rent minus taxes minus your Vacancies, 10%, 5 vacancy and 5 maintenance, 10% vacancy. You net, so this is NOI is net operating income, $645 a month. $645 NOI times 12 months for the year, you will make $7,740. Your ROI is 15.18%. So what is ROI? Return on investment. And it's very simple. It's the 7740, what you make in the year. You just divide that by total money you invested, which is 51,000. 15%. Where are you going to go and get 15% return that it's secured by a property? Funny, I had called the bank and I asked, how much are you paying on interest now? You will not believe what they said. 0.001 was one account, and the best account that they have, they were paying 0.004. That is unbelievable to me. I was just completely thrown away. So here you're getting 15.18%. Who can use an additional $645 a month? And you might even say, well, 645 is not a whole lot of money. But what if you did 10 of these? What if you did 20? You're not going to get rich on one, but and what I say about buy and holds rentals, this is where you create your wealth. This is where if you are at the Bahamas, money's coming in whether you're here or wherever you're at. So this is one of my favorite strategies to invest in real estate because I became homeless and where I was, I don't ever want to get myself in that position again. So I'm always looking for security. If you have 10 of these properties, what are the likelihoods that all 10 of your properties going to go empty? Very unlikely. Very. Now you can even get loans on these, and which I did at the beginning. I got loans. I did owner financing. So instead of making 645, usually my payments were about 300 to 350. So I ended up making profit 3 to 350 a month until I paid off that house. Then it was all my profit. So that's the way I build it, trying to collecting monthly income. So ask yourself, can you use another 645? If you can't, then maybe if you already have enough money, then maybe this might not be the good strategy for you. We might need you to go into a different type of real estate investments. Next, let's talk about property management. Property management is crucial. If you do not want to do the property management yourself, you hire a property manager. Or if you do want to do it, then these are crucial things that you need to understand. A good property manager will maintain the property and the tenants at all times. So what does that mean? Is that if something breaks, they will get someone out there. You want to make sure your tenants are happy. If you have good tenants, take care of them. I personally like to do special things for my tenants around the holidays, especially around Christmas time. And I do raffles, I do a whole bunch of stuff that no one else is out there. So before they go and leave me and they want to go somewhere else, they're going to say, well, I'm missing out on some stuff. Now, what is typically the fees of a property management? Typically is 10% of the monthly fee of income received. So if they collected $800, they're going to keep 10% of that, which it would be $80. Now, be aware of those property managers that are a lot less than 10%, but it's a flat fee, whether it's rented or not. I don't like that because there's no incentive for them to rent it. And life happens to all of them and all of us, including a property management. So they're going to rent out the ones that they don't have that flat fee, that they need to have money coming in first before renting yours, because why? They still getting paid anyways. So also, they for the placement, if they get a property that they have to place a tenant inside, majority of them will charge you what it's called a placement fee. And it's, if you get a quote up to 1 month's rent, then that is very normal for them to do. Re-signing lease, $200. That's average, and that is when there's a tenant inside, the lease expires, they have to go in and have that redo a new lease for another year. So they usually charge you to a fee for that. And 10% upcharge for repairs. So if they have to go buy, I don't know, some doorknobs or hire a contractor to go fix a toilet or whatever it is, if the whatever the contractor or the cost was, they'll charge a 10% on top of it. So if the contractor went out there, fixed the toilet, charged $100, they will charge 10% extra, $10 on it. Why do they do this, you say? Well, because it takes time. It takes time to call somebody and keep up with them and make sure it gets done. They send them out there, then they need to make sure that before they got paid that it gets done. So it does take a lot of time to do this, and they should get paid. And you want them to get paid because when you try to get people to do stuff for free for you, well, sometimes it doesn't work out. Now, all management fees are negotiable. The more doors, so what does that mean? So realistic, the doors means an actual front door. The more doors you have for them to manage, the better the pricing. They will go down on these fees, especially the monthly fee, if you give them bulk to a lot of doors. And the reason we say doors is because obviously a single family home has one door, one front door, but an apartment complex may have 100 doors. And again, we're talking about front doors. So it's gonna take them more time to run one apartment with 100 apartments inside versus the one house. So that's why we say doors. All right, next slide. Now, this is really true. A good property manager are in high demand. Certain states you do need to be licensed if you're going to manage someone else's properties. Now, there is other things that have been done like subleasing, but that's completely different. Normally, it's a licensed realtor. They have a real estate license that does property management, and you want to make sure also that they're insured. Key points to be a successful property manager: be consistent and stick to the rules. Let me tell you a story. I had a tenant that she was late on her rent, and we charged her $50 late fee. She was late on her rent, and she came in and said, Vicky, I was in a car accident. You can see her. She had been all banged up, and I was in the hospital. I didn't make it in, by the 5th. I give them a 5 days grace period. Rent's due on the 1st. You have till the 5th. On the 6th, I give them a 3-day notice. On the 10th, I already start the eviction process. Why do I do that? And sometimes they might have a good reasoning, but rules are the rules, and I can sympathize, but you know what? Hey, I get it. Just make sure you pay it by the time we go to court because they still have to go through the process. The reason why the process does take some time, depending on the state you're in, some might take longer, some might take less time. In Jackson, by the time we get into court, it will be anywhere between 5 to 8 weeks. But then we have to wait. If they don't move out, we have to go and get them removed. That could be an additional month. Um, so I understood she was in the hospital. She couldn't come and pay her rent. So I said, you know what, you're right. I will go ahead and pay and waive this late fee for you. Great. She walks out of the office. You will not believe what she did. She goes and tells everybody what I did. Not even 3 minutes go by. I have three other people coming into the office asking for the late fee waived. So that goes to show you, you just stick to the rules. Those are the rules. No matter what, you just stick to them. What you do for one, then you have to do for all. So I learned my lesson on that one. Um, Give the 3 day notice or 30-day notice. So what's the difference? The 3-day notice is the one that you give when they don't pay. You go and you give them saying you got 3 days to pay, or you start the eviction process. 30 days, it's, let's say they're violating something in the lease, but they've been making their payments on time. You have to give them a 30-day notice. Now, usually if they're violating something on the lease, what I do is I'll say you have so much time to fix this. If not, if it does not get fixed, we'll come in and fix it and charge you, or you have this, serve this as a 30-day notice, right? Stick to that. And you have to do it immediately. You cannot go and give a notice to somebody, a lease violation notice, a week or two after it happened. No, you have to do it right away. Handle all the work orders right away. So I get it. There's certain stuff that is minor. Uh, Check your laws in each state. In Jackson, it says that anything that's wrong with a property, tenant has to give us ample time. What is ample time? In this part, it's a little bit unclear because I had one judge tell me ample time is 30 days. Another one said 45 days. I don't really let it go more than 30 days, and you don't want to either. You want to make sure that your tenants are taken care of. Handle your work orders. Now, also learn all your rules, because this is something tenants will try doing, is if you did not get to the work orders, like I do them as the order they come in, and unless it's an emergency. So they'll say, well, you haven't fixed my stove or whatever it is. You haven't fixed this, so I'm not going to pay rent. Well, Mississippi law states that if you gave them landlord ample time and they have not fixed the problem, then you go and fix it and deduct it off the rent, but you have to show receipts from a licensed company. So know your state laws, because that's crucial for you to know. Qualify your tenants. So what are you qualifying on? This is key. And this is, we talked about the D area. D areas may not be an area that you want to move in, but there's people wanting to move into that area. So the better you can get at qualifying people, the better that will be. What do you do? I always do, they need to make 3 times the rents. And you might say, wow, Vicky, that's a lot. Not really, because if they make 3 times the rent, that's for the rents. Then they have utilities. Then they have food. Then they have their cell phone. Then they have insurance, possibly car payments, possibly credit cards. So 3 times the rent is the minimum that they need to make. Look at their credit. I know some people that are very, very strict on their credit and credit scores, and you can be. This is going to be up to you. I personally look at what has happened in the last 12 months. We have had a lot of people that have lost their house during the last market crash, I will say, and they had bad credit. That's plain and simple. But they need a place to stay. It doesn't mean that they can't afford anything. It could just be because that the loan they got into it was something they really couldn't afford. So um, ask questions. If you look at their credit, is what has happened if they have credit issues. A lot of times you can find that is a specific time period that they have credit issues. They were paying the payments on time, and then something happened. Life happened. They didn't pay anything, and now they're back to paying stuff. So it really, you just need to ask, what happened here? What if it happened 6 months ago? You see that 6 months ago. Are you going to tell them no? I wouldn't. I would just ask. What happened here? What if they say, "Oh, well, my spouse passed away." That's huge. That is major, and think about it. People don't think clearly when tragedies happen, so it's understandable. Now, I will also ask for backup on anything they tell me. They cannot just tell me, "Hey, I was in a car accident and I was in the hospital." Oh, okay, that makes sense. Last that you're in the hospital, you're not, forgot to pay your rent. Of course. Well, show me the paperwork that you're in the hospital. I guarantee they have a lot of bills. So make it make sense. The next, I do a criminal background. Now, why do I do this? I think it's important to show character. Um, what kind of people are they? If they have had a felony in the last 5 years, then more than likely that would everything else on the file has to be perfect. So if it's after 5 years, then you know what? Maybe they were young. Who knows what the reasoning is? But I just find out. Now, I usually what I get is, uh, oh, it wasn't me, or I was framed, whatever the reason is. I still go, that's not something for you to be the judge. So look at who you're putting in your houses. If there's theft, violent crimes, or anything like that, I pretty much and the file doesn't, has too many holes in it. That's not somebody I want. Uh, Verifications. You need to verify. You need to ask for paycheck stubs. You need to ask for a copy of their ID, and you need to verify. And a bank account. Why do I say bank account? The reason why I believe is and trust me, in Jackson, Mississippi, it's a very cash business. So people like to pay cash for everything. But to me, it seems like people without bank accounts is someone different. Um, and I'm not saying physically different. I'm just saying they have maybe different values, or maybe they just can't have a bank account because they owe bank money. So that's another way of qualifying. Now, what I do find out in Jackson is that a lot of people will have a pay card. Many businesses will pay with like an ATM card. They'll put the money in this account. That is fine too if they have that, because they do have to go in and fill out paperwork for that. So a pay card, their job pays them through like a pay card bank account. That works. Now, how do I verify employment? Well, first I call their job, make sure that the paycheck's right. Now, some companies will put you through the ringer trying to do a verification. Um, you have to get this 800 number, so it might become difficult. So let's say you aren't unable to verify that paycheck stub as correct. I would call, first of all, Google the their work's phone number. I've had times that people will give me their friend's cell phone number and they're saying that's their job. No, no. You make sure that you Google that phone number and that phone number actually comes back to that company. If it does not, then you say, no, I need a phone number that's verifiable. So that's one. So verify that is the right number, and then I call and I can't get a verification. So my next step, just to make sure that they do work there, is I call. Let's say John Smith apply for to rent one of my properties. I'll call and I'll say, "Hi, can I speak to John Smith?" And then they'll tell you, "Oh, he's unavailable." Oh, is this a personal call? So you'll know by the answer whether they work there or not. That's crucial. And then you're going to call landlords. Now you can call the current landlord, but be prepared for, maybe some dishonesties going on with the current landlord. What if it's an amazing tenant and that landlord doesn't want to lose that tenant? So they might give you some bad information about that tenant because why? They don't want to lose them. And then vice versa. What if it's a horrible tenant and they really want that tenant out of the house. They might tell you the best thing that those tenants are the best. So I don't put too much weight with the current landlord. I put a lot of weight on the previous landlord. The previous landlord has nothing to lose. They will spill the beans. So, previous landlord is crucial. Treat every property the same as if it was yours. So, if you're managing properties for someone else, you treat them as if they were yours. If you wouldn't do it for yours, you don't do it for their properties. Treat your tenants good. It is crucial. Again, your goal is to keep long lasting tenants because then you have less downtime of vacancies, right? You that property is always producing. Be very creative. Okay, so this is be creative upsell. So there's many other ways that I mentioned on the upsell. One, it's, learn your areas. We do have a lot of people that will go to rent a center and rent a couch or a TV or something like that. Well, TV rent a center charges close to $30 a week. A week. That's huge. That means it's $120 a month for a TV. That's expensive. So I'll do upsells. If they want a TV, I will do it for, $40 a month versus 30 a week, and it's a rent to own. They'll finance it for as long as the terms are on there, and then the TV becomes theirs. I can even add insurance on top of it. So if they break it, whichever way it is, it's extra income coming in. They're going to go to rent a center anyways. So why can't you do it, save them money, and you collect that money? I buy these TVs at well, I'm not going to say the name, but it's a big store, and around Christmas time, I get a huge sale on 60 inches. So that's where I buy them. All right, next thing here. All right. Now, can you manage properties or are you one that wants to sit back? You kind of have to make that decision. Now, I want to thank you for staying and listening to this whole thing. Again, rentals, it is my favorite thing, and that's how I've created my wealth, and I'm just going to continue growing and growing and growing. And I hope you do the same. If you do have any questions, please drop me a line. Register at Vicky. I'll give you a surprise special gift. Register at www.vickyscattini.com and make sure you follow me on YouTube. Now on YouTube, I am the real Vicky Schettini. Believe it or not, there is another one. So the real Vicky Schettini, and once you register, I will go ahead and send you the gift. Follow me on all the other social medias, but again, don't forget to register. And in the meantime, I hope you have an amazing day. Do not forget to do WIT, whatever it takes. Bye.
I hope you liked my video and I was able to give you a lot of information so you can go and do WIT, whatever it takes. Make sure you register. If you want to know more, register at vickyscattini.com. That's Schettini. And Vicky is Vicky. Follow me in YouTube at the real Vicky Schettini and all the other social medias. Have an amazing day and continue to do WIT. Bye.